Distinguish home worker from house helper. A home worker is someone who performs paid-for work from their own home, typically for a company or employer. While a house helper or domestic worker is a person employed to perform household chores like cleaning, cooking, or child care within someone else's home, directly serving the household members. What is considered as home purposes of employment of home workers? Home means any room, house, apartment, or other premises used regularly in whole or in part as dwelling place, except those situated within the premises or compound of an employer, contractor or subcontractor, and the work performed therein is under the active or personal supervision by or for the latter. D.O. number 05-92, Rule number 14, Section 2. What is industrial homework? Industrial homework is a system of production under which work for an employer or contractor is carried out by a home worker at his or her home. Materials may or may not be furnished by the employer or contractor. D.O. number 05-92, Section 2. What are the rights and benefits accorded to home workers? 1. Right to self-organization. Home workers shall have the right to form, join or assist organization of their own choosing in accordance with law. D.O. number 0592, Section 3. Number 3. Payment homework. Immediately upon receipt of the finished goods or articles, the employer shall pay for the work performed less corresponding home workers' share of SSS, Medicare, and ECC premium contribution, which shall be remitted by the employer to the SSS with the employer's share. What are the provisions for home worker? No home work shall be performed on the following: explosives, fireworks, and articles of like character, drugs and poisons, and other articles the processing of which requires exposure to toxic substance. D.O. number 0592, Section 13.
Solo Parent Act. Ang Solo Parents Welfare Act, RA 8972 at RA 11861 o Expanded Solo Parents Welfare Act ay batas sa Pilipinas na nagbibigay ng suporta at benepisyo sa mga solo parent o magulang na mag-isang nag-aalaga ng anak. What are the benefits granted to solo parents? The following are the benefits granted to solo parents: comprehensive package of social development and welfare services, housing benefits, educational benefits, flexible work schedule, parental leave, non-discrimination, and medical assistance. Comprehensive package of social development and welfare services. The DSWD shall coordinate with concerned agencies the implementation of the comprehensive package of social development and welfare services, which shall include livelihood development services, counseling services which include individual, peer group, or family counseling, parent effectiveness services, critical incident stress debriefing, and special projects for individuals in need of protection. Mga serbisyong ibinibigay sa livelihood development services. Pagsasanay at pagpapahusay ng kasanayan. Nagbibigay ang gobyerno sa tulong ng TESDA ng mga libreng pagsasanay sa technical at vocational na aspeto tulad ng welding, caregiving at computer literacy. Pagkakaroon ng trabaho. Tinutulungan ang mga solo parents na makahanap ng trabaho sa pamamagitan ng DOLE at iba pang ahensya. Pagnenegosyo. Sinusuportahan ang mga solo parents na nais magsimula ng maliit na negosyo sa pamamagitan ng mentoring programs, pag-access sa mga pondo, at market linkage. Tulong mula sa lokal na pamahalaan. Ang mga LGU ay inatasang magbigay ng livelihood assistance sa kanilang mga nasasakupan, makikipagtulungan sa NGO at pribadong sektor. Ang gobyerno ay nakikipagtulungan sa mga organisasyon at pribadong sektor para palawakin ang programa at tiyakin na makararating ito sa mga maraming solo parents. Counseling Services. Ang counseling services ay nagbibigay ng suporta sa mga solo parents upang malampasan ang stress o problema, pagbutihin ang relasyon sa pamilya, at makahanap ng suporta mula sa kapwa solo parents. Mga uri ng counseling services na ibinibigay. Individual counseling. Isa sa isang seksyon kasama ang isang lisensyadong counselor o social worker. Layunin nitong tugunan ang personal na pangangailangan ng solo parent, tulad ng pagpapalakas ng kanilang kalooban o pagpaplano ng kanilang buhay. Peer group counseling. Ginaganap sa grupo ng mga solo parents na may parehong karanasan o hamon sa buhay. Pinapalakas ang pakiramdam ng pagiging kabilang sa komunidad. Nagbibigay ng pagkakataon para sa pagbabahagi ng karanasan, payo, at emosyonal na suporta. Family counseling. Tinutulungan ang solo parent at kanilang mga anak na magkaroon ng mas maayos na komunikasyon at relasyon. Parent Effectiveness Services. Ano ang Parent Effectiveness Services? Ito ay isang programa na nagbibigay ng edukasyon at pagsasanay sa mga solo parents upang maging handa sa responsibilidad ng pagiging magulang, malutas ang mga hamon sa pagiging magulang, at palakasin ang relasyon ng magulang at anak. Nilalaman ng Parent Effectiveness Services, mga workshop at seminar, pag-unawa sa yugto ng paglaki ng bata, pamamahala ng stress at emosyon, at pagpapalakas ng kakayahan sa pagpapasya. Critical Incident Stress Debriefing. Ano ang Critical Incident Stress Debriefing? Ang CISD ay isang structured counseling process na tumutulong sa mga solo parents na makabawi mula sa trauma o stress, maiwasan ang pangmatagalang epekto ng trauma, at maproseso ang nararamdaman at kaisipan. Halimbawa ng sitwasyong nangangailangan ng CISD, pagkawala ng asawa o kasama sa buhay, kamatayan o biglaang paghiwalay, pagiging biktima ng kalamidad o sakuna, lindol, bagyo o iba pang natural na sakuna na nagdulot ng malaking epekto sa pamilya, pagkakaranas ng pang-aabuso, pisikal, emosyonal o sexual na pang-aabuso, pagharap sa biglaang pagbabago sa buhay, at pagsolo sa pagpapalaki ng mga anak nang walang inaasahan. Special Projects for Individuals in Need of Protection. Ano ang Special Projects for Individuals in Need of Protection? Ang mga espesyal na proyekto ay nakatuon sa pagbibigay ng proteksyon, suporta at rehabilitasyon sa mga solo parents at kanilang mga anak na maaaring nasa peligro o nangangailangan ng agarang intervention. Mga serbisyong ibinibigay sa ilalim ng espesyal na proyekto: agarang pabahay o tirahan, legal assistance, rehabilitasyon at counseling, livelihood support, kalamidad at sakuna response, at proteksyon sa karahasan. Housing benefits. Solo parents who meet the eligibility criteria for housing assistance under RA number 7279, Urban Development and Housing Act of 1992, and other related rules and regulations of participating housing agencies shall be provided with liberal terms of payment on government low-cost housing projects in accordance with housing law provisions, prioritizing applicants below the poverty line as declared by the National Statistical Coordination Board. Kapag ang isang solo parent ay kwalipikado sa pagkuha ng mga murang pabagay na itinakda ng batas, ay binibigyang prioridad para maka-avail ng kaukulang pabahay na magaan ang termino ng pagbabayad. Educational benefits. The DECS, CHED and TESDA shall provide the following benefits and privileges: scholarship programs for qualified solo parents and their children in institutions of basic, tertiary, and technical or skills education, and non-formal education programs appropriate for solo parents and their children. Educational benefits, nagbibigay ito ng oportunidad para sa anak ng solo parent at maging sa mismong solo parent. Flexible work schedule. The flexible work schedule shall not affect individual and company productivity, provided that any employer may request exemption from the DOLE on a certain meritorious grounds, RA 8972, otherwise known as Solo Parents Welfare Act of 2000. Dapat binibigyan ng kaukulang konsiderasyon sa schedule ng pagpasok ang solo parent kung may kinalaman ito sa pagharap at pag-aasikaso niya, lalo na sa mga dagli ang pangangailangan ng kanyang mga anak. Parental leave. In addition to leave privileges under existing laws, parental leave of not more than 7 working days every year shall be granted to any solo parent employee who has rendered service of at least 1 year. Ang isang parent na empleyado na ng isang taon na isang kumpanya ay entitled sa 7 araw na leave sa trabaho sa bawat taon. Non-discrimination. No employer shall discriminate against any solo parent employee with respect to terms and conditions of employment on account of his or her status. Hindi nararapat ang diskriminasyon ng employer sa mga solo parents sa kanilang paggawa at posisyon sa kumpanya. Medical assistance. The DOH shall develop a comprehensive healthcare program, which shall be implemented by the DOH through the retained hospitals and medical centers and the local government units, through their provincial, district, city, municipal hospitals and rural health units. Makaka-avail ng libreng serbisyong medikal at dental ang solo parent, maging ng libreng serbisyo ukol sa diagnostic at laboratory sa mga pasilidad ng pamahalaan.
Night workers. Who is a night worker? A night worker means any employed person whose work covers the period from 10 o'clock in the evening to 6 o'clock the following morning, provided that the worker performs no less than 7 consecutive hours of work. A night worker is defined as any employed person whose work covers the period from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. the following morning, provided that the worker performs no less than 7 consecutive hours of work during that time. The key here is that it's not enough to just work sometime during the night. The worker must work a minimum of 7 hours consecutively within the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. window. Example: Maria is a nurse. Her shift starts at 10 p.m. and ends at 6 a.m. She works continuously for 8 hours. She is a night worker because her work falls within the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. time frame and exceeds 7 hours. Example: not a night worker. Peter is a baker. He starts work at 3 a.m. and finishes at 11 a.m. Although he works during the night, he is not considered a night worker because his work hours do not fall within the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. period. In short, to be classified as a night worker, the work must, with time fall between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., a duration be at least 7 consecutive hours. What are the rights and privilege of a night worker? Answer: the right and privilege of a night worker are the following. Number 1. Mandatory facilities. Suitable first aid facilities shall be made available, including arrangement where workers, where necessary, can be taken immediately to a place for appropriate treatment. The employers are likewise required to provide safe and helpful working conditions, and adequate of reasonable facilities such as sleeping or resting quarters in the establishment and transportation from the work premises to the nearest point of their residence, subject to exceptions and guidelines to be provided by the DOLE. This section explains what a company must provide for workers who work at night. Here's a simple explanation. Companies must give night workers these things. First aid, a place to get quick medical help if they get hurt, like a first aid kit and a plan to call a doctor or ambulance. Safe workplace, the workplace must be safe and clean, with good lighting and working equipment. Rest area, a place to rest during breaks. If the worker's home is far, the company might even help with transportation. Example: Anna works nights at a gas station. The gas station owner must keep a first aid kit available. If Anna cuts herself, she can use it, and the owner should have a way to call for an ambulance if needed. Make sure the gas station is well lit and safe at night so Anna doesn't get hurt. Provide a break room or a comfortable place for Anna to sit and rest during her breaks. If Anna lives far away, the owner might offer to help her get home safely after her shift. Number 2. Health assessment. Workers shall have the right to undergo a health assessment without charge and to receive advice on how to reduce or avoid health problems associated with their work. A. Before taking up an assignment as a night worker, at regular intervals during such an assignment, and if they experience health problems during such an assignment which are not caused by factors other than the performance of night work, with the exception of finding unfitness for night work. The findings of such assessment shall not be transmitted to others without the worker's consent and shall not be used to their detriment. This section explains that night workers have the right to free health checkups and advice to stay healthy. Night workers can get a health checkup without paying anything. The checkup will help them find out if their night job is causing any problems or any health problems. The doctor will also give them advice on how to avoid getting sick from working at night. This checkup happens before starting the night job, like a pre-employment physical, regularly during the job checkups at set times while working the night shift. If they get sick, if they get sick because of the night job, they get a checkup to find out what's wrong. The result of these checkups are private. The company can share them with anyone without the worker's permission, and they can't use the results to treat the worker unfairly. The only exception is if the checkup shows the worker is not healthy enough for night work. Example: Maria works nights at a factory. Before starting, she gets a free checkup. The doctor says she's healthy enough for the job. Every 6 months, she gets another free checkup. The doctor notices she's tired. The doctor suggests she try to get more sleep. One day, Maria gets very sick. The doctor says it's because of her night shift. The factory helps her find a day shift job. The factory can't tell other companies that Maria is tired because of the checkups. They can only share they can only share that information if Maria allows them to. Number 3, compensation. The compensation for night workers in the form of working time, pay or similar benefits shall recognize the exceptional nature of night work. This section says that night workers deserve extra pay or benefits because working at night is harder than working during the day. The extra compensation should show that their work is special and more difficult. Example: Maria works the night shift at a convenience store. Because of the extra challenges at working at night, like being alone, dealing with potentially difficult customers at odd hours, she might receive a higher hourly pay. She might earn more per hour than a day shift worker doing the same job. Extra paid time off. She might get more vacation days or paid sick leave than a day shift worker. Another benefits, the store might provide her with transportation assistance to get home safely at night. The key is that her compensation, pay, time off, or other perks reflects that fact that her night work is different and more demanding than a typical daytime job. Number 4. Consultation for night work schedules. The employer shall consult the workers' representatives or labor organizations concerned on the details of such schedules and the forms of organization of night work that are best adapted to the establishment and its personnel, as on the occupational health measures and social services which are required. In establishments employing night workers, consultation shall take place regularly. This means that the company must talk to its night shift workers or their representatives to figure out the best way to schedule their work and provide support. The company needs to consider what works best for both the company and the workers, and regularly check in to make sure things are going well. Example: a factory has night shift workers. Before deciding on the night shift schedule, the factory manager must talk to the night shift workers or their union representative. They'll discuss things like what hours work best for most people, how many hours should each shift be, What kind of breaks are needed? What support does the company need to provide to help the workers stay healthy, like access to a doctor or a quiet place to rest? The factory manager should also regularly check in with the night shift workers to see if the schedule is working well and if they need anything else. This shows that the company cares about its night shift workers and wants to make their jobs as good as possible. Number 5. Transfer. Night workers who are certified as unfit for night work due to health reasons shall be transferred whenever practicable to a similar job for which they are fit to work. If such transfer to a similar job is not practicable, these workers shall be granted the same benefits as other workers who are unable to work or to secure employment during such period. Note that a night worker certified as temporarily unfit for night work shall be given the same protection against dismissal or notice of dismissal as other workers who are prevented from working for reasons of health. This section says that if a doctor says a night worker is too unhealthy to work nights, the company must try to find them a similar daytime job. If that's not possible, the worker gets the same benefits as someone who can't work at all. Also, if a worker is only temporarily unfit for night work, they are protected from being fired. Example, Maria works nights at a bakery, but a doctor says she's too unhealthy to work nights anymore because of sleep problems. Best case, the bakery finds Maria a daytime job doing something similar, like packaging bread instead of baking it. She keeps her job and benefits. If no daytime job, if the bakery can't find a similar daytime job, Maria gets the same benefits as if she were sick and unable to work at all, like sick pay or unemployment benefits. In either case, because her unfitness is due to health problems related to her night work, she is protected from being fired during this time. If she is only temporarily unfit, she is protected from being fired or having her employment terminated until she is well enough to return to work. Number 6. Social services. Appropriate social services shall be provided for night workers and where necessary for workers performing night work. This means that company must provide extra help and support to their night shift workers. This support is meant to make their job easier and to help them stay healthy. Example, a factory has many night shift workers. To help them, the factory might provide transportation home after their night shift, perhaps by offering a shuttle service or reimbursing transportation costs. Offer counseling services to help workers deal with stress from working at night. Provide healthy snacks or meals during their breaks to help them stay energized. Offer access to a doctor or nurse for health concerns related to their night work. The key is that the company is providing extra help beyond the usual workplace benefits to address the unique challenges of night work.
What are the alternative measures to night work for pregnant and nursing employees? Measures shall be taken to ensure that an alternative to night work is available to women workers who would otherwise be called upon to perform such work. Dapat matiyak ang alternatibo na trabaho sa gabi upang sanggayon ay magamit ng mga manggagawang kababahian na maaaring ma-assign sa panggabi na trabaho at kung hindi naman ay tatawagin sila upang isagawa ang isang naturang gawain. Before and after childbirth for a period of at least 16 weeks which shall be divided between the time before and after childbirth. Meaning, bago at pagkatapos lamang ng panganganak sa loob ng hindi bababa ng 16 na linggo or 4 months ka maaaring tawagin upang magtrabaho ulit at ma-assign sa panggabing trabaho. For additional periods, in respect of which as medical certificate is produced starting that said additional periods are necessary for the health of the mother or child during pregnancy or during a specified time beyond the period after childbirth is fixed pursuant to subparagraph above, the length of which shall be determined by the DOLE after consulting the labor organizations and employers. Kapag ikaw ay buntis at ikaw ay nagtatrabaho and you have a medical certificate na nagsasaad na you need an additional period for the sake of the health of your baby as well as you as a mother. Kapag kinakailangan mo ng pahinga, so si DOLE na ang bahala sa length or duration ng pahinga mo pagkatapos mo mga anak in order to ensure the safety of the baby and you as the mother. During the periods referred to in this article, sa mga panahon na tinutukoy dito sa artikulong ito na nabanggit kanina, it is stated that a woman worker shall not be dismissed or given notice of dismissal except for just or authorized causes provided for in this code that are not connected with pregnancy, childbirth, and childcare responsibilities. And the woman worker shall not lose the benefits regarding her status, seniority, and access to promotion which may attach to her regular night work position. Ang isang babaeng manggagawa or woman worker ay hindi dapat i-dismiss o tanggalin o bigyan ng obiso ng pagpapaalis sa kanyang pinagtatrabahuan, maliban na lang kung sa pagkakatarungan or otorisadong dahilan na itinakda na hindi naman connected or related sa pagbubuntis, panganganak at responsibilidad sa pangangalaga ng bata. And the woman worker shall not lose the benefits regarding her status, seniority, and access to promotion which may attach to her regular night work position. For example, sa isang company or firm, hindi mawalan ng benepisyo ang babaeng manggagawa ayon sa kanyang katayuan, seniority or kataasan ng ranggo or sa tungkulin at karapatan sa promotion na maaring kalakip sa kanyang regular na posisyon sa trabaho sa gabi. As an employee, you should or you must be able to get benefits from the service you provide from the company, whatever your position is. In addition, pregnant women and nursing mothers may be allowed to work at night only at a competent position. Pregnant women and nursing mothers may be allowed to work at night only if a competent physician, other than the company physician, shall certify their fitness to render night work and specify in the case of pregnant employees the period of the pregnancy that they can safely work. Meaning, ang mga buntis or nursing mothers o ang mga nagpapasusong ina ay maaari lang daw payagang magtrabaho sa gabi kung ang competent physician na maliban sa physician o manggagamot ng company ay ang patunay o certify na magtrabaho sila sa gabi at matukoy kung ligtas ba sila na magtrabaho sa gabi gayong sila ay buntis. The measures referred on this article ay maaring kabilang ang paglipat sa pang-araw na trabaho o pag-shift sa pang-araw na trabaho na kung saan posible din naman ang pagbibigay ng mga benepisyo sa social security o pagpalawig ng maternity leave. Maternity leave under this law, female employees regardless of their civil status are entitled to 105 days of paid maternity leave, granting them ample time to recover and bond with their. Maaaring ang pag-leave during your pregnancy or before and after the birth of your child could be categorized as paid, unpaid, or paid in part. So, the provision of this article shall not have the effect or hindi po dapat magkaroon ng epekto ng pagbabawas or reducing the protection at ang mga benepisyo na nauugnay sa maternity leave ng isang babaeng nagbubuntis sa ilalim ng umiiral na batas.
Our next topic is migrant workers. Migrant workers are individuals who move from one country or region to another in search of employment opportunities. They play a vital role in global economies, filling labor shortage and contributing to economic growth. Migrant workers, sila yung mga OFW natin. So who is an overseas Filipino workers?
An OFW refers to a person who is to be engaged, is engaged, or has been engaged in a remunerated activity in a state of which he or she is not a citizen or on board a vessel navigating the foreign seas other than a government ship used for military or non-commercial purposes, or on installation located offshore or on the high seas, to be used interchangeably with migrant workers. Republic Act Number 8042, Section 2, as amended by Republic Act 10022.
Our next one is the compulsory insurance coverage for agent hired workers. Agent hired migrant workers shall be covered by a compulsory insurance policy which shall be secured at no cost to the said workers and shall be effective for the duration of the migrant workers' employment contract. It shall cover the following.
The first one, permanent total disablement with at least $7,500 disability benefits payable to the migrant worker.
Number 2, repatriation cost of the worker when his/her employment is terminated without any valid cause, including the transport of his or her personal belongings. In case of death, the insurance provider shall arrange and pay for the repatriation or return of workers' remains.
Number 3, accidental death with at least $15,000 survivor's benefit payable to the migrant workers' beneficiaries.
Number 4, natural death with at least $10,000 survivor's benefit payable to the migrant workers' beneficiaries.
Number 5, subsistence allowance benefit with at least $100 per month for maximum of 6 months for a migrant worker who is involved in a case of litigation for the protection of his/her rights in the receiving country.
Number 6, money claims arising from employer's liability which may be awarded or given to the worker in a judgment or settlement of his or her case in the NLRC.
In addition to the above coverage, the insurance policy shall also include medical evacuation, medical repatriation, and compassionate visit.
What are the guarantees in development of migrant workers?
The government recognizes any of the following as a guarantee on the part of the receiving country for the protection and the rights of OFWs.
Number 1, it has existing labor and social laws protecting the rights of migrant workers. Number 2, it is a signatory to multilateral conventions relating to the protection of migrant workers. Number 3, it has concluded a bilateral agreement or arrangement with the government protecting the rights of OFWs, and it is taking positive concrete measures to protect the rights of migrant workers.
What is a security guard? Security guard refers to any person who offers or renders personal service to watch or secure a residence, business, establishment, building, compound, any other areas or property, or inspect, monitor, or performs body checks or searches at individual or baggages in other form of security inspection. What are the rights and privileges of security guards and other private security guard personnel? All security guards and other private security personnel, whenever deployed or assigned as reliever, seasonal, weekender, or temporarily, shall be entitled to the following. Number 1, safe and healthful working conditions. Number 2, labor standards such as but not limited to SIL, premium pay, and separation pay as may be provided in the service agreement or under the labor code and amendment. Number 3, retirement benefits under RA number 7641, RA number 1161 as amended by RA number 8262, and retirement plans of the security services contractor if any. Number 4, social security and welfare benefits. Number 5, right to self-organization and collective bargaining subject to the provision of existing laws. And number 6, security of tenure. What is the minimum wage rate of security guards and other private security personnel? Unless a higher minimum wage is agreed upon by the parties, and the security guards and other private security personnel shall be entitled to receive a salary of not less than the minimum wage rate prescribed in non-agricultural sector of industries in the where he/she is assigned, regardless of the nature of business of the principal.
Under security guards. Question. What wage rate is applied in case of transfer of assignment? The wage rate most favorable to the security guards and other private security personnel shall apply. Thus, transfer to areas outside the region of the domicile or head office of the SSC or PSA shall not result to the deduction of the wage rate being enjoyed by them prior to such transfer. Transfer to an area or region with higher wage rate shall render the higher rate the applicable wage rate for the transferred security guards and other private security personnel. Or in short, there is no pay cut for transfer if a security guard is moved to a different area. The current wage rate should not be lowered. For higher wage rate applies, if the new location has a higher wage rate than their current location, they should receive the higher rate. This ensures that security personnel aren't disadvantaged financially just because they are transferred to a new work area. Second question is, what is the rule on deduction from the salary of security guards and other private security personnel? There is no deduction shall be made from the salary of the security guards and other private security personnel except for SSS contribution, Pag-ibig contribution, PhilHealth contribution, withholding tax from income, provided a proper withholding tax receipt is issued to the employee before the filing of income tax return every year. Onion dues if authorized in writing, agency fees which may be collected from employees who are not member of the bargaining agent but accept benefit under the CBA, and other deduction as may be authorized in writing by the security guard and other private security personnel for payment to a third person and the employer agrees to do so, provided that the latter does not receive any pecuniary benefit, directly or indirectly from the transaction. Next question is, what is the rule on reserved status of security guards and other private security personnel? The answer is, a security guard and other private security personnel may be placed in a work pool or on a reserved status due to lack or service assignment after the expiration or termination of the service agreement with the principal where he or she is assigned, or due to the temporary suspension of security service operations, or due to valid relief from the current place or work and there is no work assignment available. And for the last question under the security guards, enumerate the instances when the security guards may not be placed in a work pool or in reserved status. There is no security guard and other private security personnel can be placed in a work pool or in reserved status in any of the following situations. The first one is after expiration of a service contract, if there are other principal where he or she can be assigned. In the second one, as a measure to constructively dismiss the security guard and as an act of retaliation for failing any compliance against the employer for the violation of labor laws, among others. And note, if after a period of 6 months, the SSC or PSA cannot provide work or give an assignment to the reserved security guard, the latter can be separated from the service and shall be entitled to separation pay. An assignment of the security guard and other private security personnel as a reliever for less than 1 month shall not be considered as an interruption of the 6 months period.